As revealed in the papers today in the Daily Monitor, DRC, which is the Democratic Republic of Congo, turns hit on Uganda over M23. Litmus test with President Felix Tshisekedi staring at a re-election vote next year. Intelligence has briefed Kampala officials that he could yield to nationalist demands to sever diplomatic ties, terminate joint military offensive against ADF rebels, and block Uganda Airlines in DRC skies. Details are in today's Daily Monitor. The Daily Monitor also brings you the funeral service of the children that were killed in a school fire that occurred in Salama School in Mukono district. Return of remains of 11 blind pupils crushes souls. They bring you caskets containing the remains of 11 blind girls who died in a dormitory fire on Monday, October the 24th, at Salama School for the Blind in Tisoga Town Council, Mukono District. This was during a requiem mass at the school premises yesterday. So sad. May their souls rest in eternal peace. Also in today's Daily Monitor, oil pipeline project gets major boost. In other stories, NMG Uganda EU launch a kids magazine in Kalangala schools. The delegation of the European Union in Uganda, together with National Media Group, have launched the 5th edition of a children's magazine. And also, medical interns threaten strike. The Federation for Uganda Medical Interns has said its members will go on strike on November 6th if pay issues are not resolved. Finally, in the regional news in today's Daily Monitor, country eulogizes a veteran economics teacher Okumu, and Ankole feels pinch of rising food costs. Get yourself a copy and see the details of these stories. And moving on to the New Vision, last journey, Father Paul Sebitogo of St. Paul's Parish, Mukono, performs commendation rites on the caskets containing the remains of pupils of Salama School of the Blind who died in the fire that burnt a dormitory at the school. They also bring you, present was the State Minister for Primary Education, Joyce Kaduchu. It was a sad moment as they bid farewell to the children that died in the fire. And also in today's New Vision, what Kenya deployment in Congo means. Uganda soldiers set, according to Brigadier Kulaije. And also in today's New Vision, another Busika policeman survives attack. And then also public varsities restrict staff from part-timing. They also bring you pass O-level, they bring you S1 English and S2 chemistry. In the New Vision today, there are attendance and job opportunities at Water Trust Prudential, Entebbe Secondary School, and Kasoa. Get yourself a copy and see where you can get yourself a job opportunity, especially if you are searching for one. Now, because of time, allow me to take you straight into today's international news update. We'll start with what's happening in neighboring Congo. New research into the world's largest tropical peatlands in the Congo Basin has revealed that climate change 5,000 years ago led to them drying out, releasing damaging amounts of carbon dioxide, a phenomenon that is threatening to repeat itself today. The peatlands today store huge amounts of carbon, up to 30 billion tons, that if released would be the equivalent of 3 years global carbon emissions. A team of scientists from the Democratic Republic of Congo and the UK carried out the study in the area this year, and the results will be published in Nature magazine. Professor Corneille Ewango from DRC University of Kisangani led the expeditions. And in Somalia, some unlikely fighters are strengthening the Somali government's arsenal in its long war against Al-Shabaab, one of Al-Qaeda's most unsuccessful most successful affiliates, and which was behind a twin car bomb explosion in the capital Mogadishu last weekend that killed at least 120 people. Images of men in sarongs and flip-flops running about with guns are one of the most enduring stereotypes of conflict in Somalia. Footage of these beast-cutted fighters careering through smashed-up cities, firing wildly as they go, is shown again and again, much to the annoyance of Somalis, who said this is not a fair or accurate representation of their society. Somalis call these sarongs ma'awis. They usually come in muted colors, decorated with abstract designs originating in Indonesia. And in Ethiopia, a surprise deal has been reached in the Ethiopian civil war, with both sides agreeing to hold their two-year conflict, which led to thousands of deaths and warnings of famine. The African Union has called it a new dawn, according to the press. The agreement between Ethiopia, the Ethiopian government, and Tigrayan forces should allow aid deliveries to resume. Almost 90% of people in the northern Tigray region need food aid, according to the World Health Organization. About a third of the region's children are suffering from malnutrition. In the United States, the central bank has approved another sharp rise in interest rates as it wrestles to rein in fast rising prices. The Federal Reserve said it was raising its key interest rate by 0.75 percentage points, lifting it to its highest rate since early 2008. The bank hopes pushing up borrowing costs will cool the economy and bring down price inflation. Critics are worried the move could trigger a serious downturn. The latest increase takes the bank's benchmark lending rate to 3.75 to 4%, a range that is the highest since January 2008. Moving on, with some young religious voters literally jumping for joy, the standout story of Israel's latest election was the big surge in popularity of the far right. While Mr. Ben-Gvir, previously convicted a racist in Israel, is now attempting to rebrand himself as a more conventional political, he has not changed his anti-Arab rhetoric. He wants the best for Israel. He wants the terrorists out, according to Noam from a settlement in the occupied West Bank. And in the Middle East, in Asia, North Korea has fired an intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, designed to hit targets on the other side of the world, according to South Korean officials. The ICBM launch is Pyongyang's seventh this year and comes amid concerns that it will soon test a nuclear weapon. It comes a day after both Koreas fired missiles in an escalation of tensions. The exchange, that's almost number of missiles launched by the North in a single day, was seen. North Korea's multiple launches comes as the US and South Korea are staging their latest ever joint air drills, which Pyongyang has strongly criticized as aggressive and provocative. And then Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro has appealed to truckers protesting against Sunday's election results to clear the roads and protest elsewhere. Supporters of the far-right president have erected hundreds of roadblocks across Brazil since it was announced that Mr. Bolsonaro's left-wing rival Lula won the election. And in the United States, U.S. President Joe Biden has warned any candidates who refuse to accept defeat in next week's midterm election could set the nation on the path to chaos. He also urged Americans to unite in opposition to political violence in the November 8th vote. Mr. Biden, a Democrat, said former President Donald Trump and his supporters were peddling lies of conspiracy and malice. Republicans hit back that Mr. Biden was seeking to divide and deflect. And finally, a senior Russian military leader discussed last month how and when they might use nuclear weapons on the battlefield in Ukraine, according to two U.S. officials. Vladimir Putin was not involved in the talks, according to the press. The White House said it had grown increasingly concerned about the potential use of the nuclear weapons over the last few months, but it stressed that the U.S. saw no sign of Russia preparing for such use. Well, that brings us to the end of this morning's news update. Thank you for watching Channel 44. I remind you of the Karamoja Cry. We are helping the people of Karamoja permanently solve the hunger situation in the northeastern region. Join us once again as we plant, produce, and we plow, plant, and produce for these people that God has visited. Well, you can send your seed to the numbers that will be available during the services, or you can come to the Miracle Center Cathedral. Today we are having revival services. Join us, and remember to carry your seed for Karamoja. God will tremendously bless you. The Pastors Now program is coming up next. Enjoy your morning.